From the preface to Walkers in the City by Dennis Barone, the preface. The poet John Burnett Payne gave me the title for this collection. Back in the last century, he wrote a poem called Walkers in the City, in which one reads, "Frequently he passes me, as if I were not there. Encountering him, I can estimate the time he will need to circle a city block. We will meet again exactly where we met before." Maybe it is art that makes life transcend time and space a little bit and gets us out of or sheds light on sickness and brutality. A stroll can be restorative. So I offer this as a street for any reader to walk down, a neighborhood to walk around. It is not limitless. The district has its boundaries, but it is not a block of concrete and tar. William Corbett once said, "Compression of poetry is so great I often explode out of the house to walk off a poem. Wander at your will in this world made of words, syllables, solid as bricks. May the few poems gathered here act as a shaman's spell to turn the tables on the COVID-19 pandemic."
Each blossom, sponge painted in soot, the sky all around, and in its absence, as if from random roofs, Muslim sails searching. Strangers' conversations take on meaning I have no right to embrace. I don't tell anyone the truth. I keep interior, a white rat in the same maze without solution, yet this compulsion today, worrying my trip to Manhattan. We climbed the stairs to the High Line, orange-yellow bushes in flower. So many times you've taught me to call its name, witch hazel, hamamelis, the genus together with fruit, as in the simultaneous arrival of flowers with the maturing fruit of the previous year. If I could, I'd inhabit this shrub or small tree, wearing each blossom with its 4 slender exclamations for petals as long as I could, protecting myself from making light of this beauty, as if I'd swallowed the flowers to admit your presence here high above New York. There is love because of you.
Being in Montpelier. Description is expiation and not a place to hunker down in. Charles Wright. A pint of stovepipe porters sweats on the bar at the Positive Pie. Hull attacks Arsenal on the flat screen above the Hendrix, the Bombay Sapphire in the halogen glare. More crosswalks than a city. People saunter here. Red bandanas bob across Main Street, tied loosely on wrinkled foreheads. The Skinny Pancake, Le Brioche, Rivendell Books. One Last Time, Charlie O's Bar. It has a smell, says the sales girl in the boutique next door. The state capitol, granite. The cupola, gold. Pure New England restraint. Wood-bound embellishment. No other way around it, not in these parts. The woodsy diadem sits regally on the Winooski River, burnished by the afternoon sun nudging clouds that break low after morning rain. It's humid in these green mountains. A clammy serenity shrouds the town, and the feeling of this life thickens in the midsummer closeness, swells with the clapboards. And here I am, leaning against the parking meter. This moment, which seems like nothing much at all I know it's time to leave such sense of things, time to let eyes rest, time to move on, though the sun hits the State House dome and the world glints gold, gold, gold.
From Walkers in the City. The cartography of a sinner's view. The cartography of the sinner's view bred a backyard garden and witless seed. Over earth he walked, and earth he sprouted. Lord threw down scrap metal and meadow rose, sat in a bed of thorns and read first page in the atlas of Johnny Applebloom. It was Johnny who built the plague house and spread the witless seed. Timber, timber, over earth he stepped and earth it sprouted, mapping the small and tender garden pots. Midas root of the millennium bloom, vagrant swarm of the Johnny Apple plague. What happened to thin bee and apple tree? The empty hives turned into holy dust. Over earth he walked, and earth he sprouted. The Holy Ghost floated over church plots. Over earth he stepped, and earth he sprouted. The cartography of a sinner's view, a witless seed, airborne, and God bless you.
Saylor's Grove. Leaving the shadows in the park, we walked along Lincoln Drive, cars ripping past us after our rambling pace among half-dozen walkers on the wide path beside the creek. We waited for the light 10 feet from a couple who, like us, wore masks. When the light changed, we all crossed Lincoln to a wooded triangular tract defined by 3 streets that hit a wetland few ever stopped to see. The couple continued up Rittenhouse Hill, but we entered the narrow marsh where a dark pond held hundreds of orange carp. Beer cans and chip bags in mud at the margins, we stepped past dry grass and discovered a stand of cattail reeds and an island no bigger than a stranded van. A struggling cleft tree grew there, magnificent only in its reflection, overlaying coy and knotted throngs beneath the stubbled surface of the green pond. The city had laid flagstone nearby, now overgrown, on which a goose nestled heedless of our voices. Round the other side, they built a walled deck to view the brook that fed the carp pond. A place to stop the world. From there we could watch red-winged blackbirds, cone-beaked flyers, shrugging their patched shoulders, screech on scruffy branches and cattail spires.
I walk, the moon relaxes over Phoenix and the world. Here comes Seymour on 4 legs and Shelley walking him. We have not talked in months, and now we do. The canal is lightly peopled, and Javier goes by and lifts his hand close to the mast. It used to be sunup. Now flecks of young humidity arrive. Freedom begins to build its nest. I use my phone for everything, checking the temperature, listening to long-winded updates, learning status of the fires. I walk 6 miles each day the calendar allows, grateful I can. The color of the earth, lighter than mountain glow of sun, changes each hour. A brush of gray shows the East Valley will have droplets of monsoon or violent wind and dust. Eckhart Tolle occupies the new lightweight reader. I have invested also in 2 pencils taking 0.9 lead in case some syllables come by. The atmosphere around the body prompts me to adapt. Discussants on the phone call me adaptable. I covet modesty en route home, a small space with a tub. My thoughts stay whole as young. I think of Peter and of Terrelin, now free of this. St. Craig, his ashes in a garden near the chapel. I need to find the present tense amid 109 degrees. That's 42.78 Celsius, my brother Neil reminds me. Put on your shoes and walk inside the house. I listen to the music in the trees developing lush leaves, the eucalypti and the olive shedding. Palm shavings lace the yard. Neighbors occupy the poolside, speak about chlorine and water shine, sip sunbrewed tea. Tomorrow is a document. I like the thought of sleep and to be lulled to quiet peacefully. I want to find God in the movement of the muscles venturing across this fifth largest city in the country, reminding me our grandfather, born this Independence Day in 1888, who on that day each year drove 17 grandchildren and 4 daughters around the farm on his steam engine. My grandmother, the neighbors, friends, grandfather's fiddle music, and potato salad made by mother as she learned from hers. It is a glorious new day, and I am younger than before. I free myself of atmosphere. I window shop apart from windows. I lift from innocence to find experience, where it returns me to first purity. There is no Michigan or Indiana here, no semitones. Only a separate grace to be recovered by the people who have landed here and walked to find its heart. On my arrival, 44 years back, I thought the land too shallow, noting short roots of the saguaro, nothing deeply planted. And I felt free of leaden guilt. Now the body starts to be my body, as unleavened bliss takes me to destinations not discovered, named, or chalked upon hot pavement. All the pin lights possible are here after the walk. I rinse away the perspiration. Hibiscus may be orange, red, and blonde, and so the bougainvillea. May each foster each the way we are connected here, at this safe distance from my fear.
Hi, Maureen Owen here. I'm going to be reading from just out from Ohm Editions, Walkers in the City. This is the title. The city was always the same, only the perfume floating up from asphalt after it rained. For RP. It had started to rain. At the subway stairs, you said, "Shall we walk?" We were at 9th Avenue, or maybe it was 8th, on 14th Street. Sure, I said. It was dark. We were dressed for the day it had been. Sultry, humid, sweating. The mizzle became a shower. Chortling, we quickened our pace. Car lights, swirling streets were a painting by Louise. At 5th, the sky broke down and wept. Great buckets of tenderness for a city. Sheets of water flung off our hair, off eyelashes, into trenches, rivuleting past our noses, whirling from our chins, opening up our seams, our molecules torrents, soaking cross-town avenues, channels bursting lassos, a clasped communication of persuasions wrapping our desires. Our foreheads blazing tinder, tramping, drenched in subterranean tunnels, trains fled in faceted directions, clanging rivers under our streets, tides pounding scalp and rind, pouring into caverns, into cities below the cities below us. Currents unrested, accused of crimes we skipped, atmosphere above, somersaulting down remarkable liquidity, crested abysses. Junkets were our torture, our fever, our remorse. Voyagers masked, stalwart aplomb, our brows rinsed clean. A pair of ransacked salty seas, we, hydroplaning, fanned a water harvest, Fabric smashed against our husks, until at First Avenue we ran to 13th Street. We, her waters then, saturated, gushing, that night drowning, we up and swam. Thank you.
I'm Jerome Sala. This poem is called Elaine and Jerome Take a Walk. We walked down Belden to look at the houses. Some guy on a top floor next to a Buddha played a synthesizer, the sound of a giant shovel scraping dirt over a giant's grave. Everywhere we walked, it followed us, as if we were Betty and Barney Hill.